Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. We are back for another He Said.
She said.
She really did.
I really did just say that.
Yeah. Ashlen has been working with me on this series. We didn't know the series was going to be such a hit.
Yeah. Had we known, I would have been on the show sooner.
Or you would have done your own.
Or would I have done my own, yeah.
Yeah. And just
to say I haven't.
Left me in the dust. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you actually do a podcast, don't you?
I do a podcast, yeah.
Do you want to give it a quick plug?
It's the Black Velvet Podcast. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube.
And it's no holes barred. I've heard it before.
Yeah, it's a little raunchy.
What do you talk about everything? Movies,
media, mental health.
Yeah.
We just did a view on The Mandalorian that should be out soon.
Oh, nice.
That'll be cool.
All right. Yeah. Well, before we get off track, I will put a link to Ashlen's podcast below.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to hear more of her rants and raves and
Trailer
thinkings,
Trash with Ash.
Trailer Trash with Ash.
Yeah, I don't. Good stuff.
I'm your father. Let's move on. But today. All right. I'm excited about this one. I am
too.
You came up with this idea. When you came up with this idea, I got so excited because I'm like, this could be a really controversial, meaty one, or it's just going to blow up in our face. So either way, it's going to be amazing. We are here to do a He Said, She Said of relationship advice for James Bond.
That's cool.
Well, you came up with it.
I did.
Now, what was your motivation? Do you feel like James Bond as a character needs some relationship advice?
I think everyone could use some relationship advice.
Okay.
Especially James Bond.
All right. So as James Bond, let's start with the generalities,
okay.
and then what we're going to do is I'm going to come to you as if I'm James Bond with a certain situation, and as his therapist, right? As his
I'm not licensed
psychologist, not in practice. I want you to give kind of a she said type of relationship. But what are some generalities about the relationships and the things? I see you have notes.
I have notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bond. Here's your advice. Always dress well, dress to impress.
Oh.
I feel like that's no issue here.
Wait, so you don't find that one-dimensional, like dress well as the first one?
I think first impressions are, everything, especially when you're about to get killed.
Well, wow.
You gotta look good or die trying, I think.
And he has to charm people as well.
Absolutely.
Men and women. He's just gotta.
How will he be trusted?
Yes. Yeah.
Even in the dating world.
And I think also being well dressed.
It sends a message. It means you care about yourself and you'll care about others, I think.
And it's a part of discipline. It's a part of
yeah.
discipline. As you roll out like a slob and you've got, Cheetos coming down the side of your face.
I brushed mine off this morning.
You did, and we all appreciate that.
I got checked.
But it says something about you if you had.
It does. It means I love Cheetos and I don't value my appearance like Bond does, apparently.
What was the next observation? This is great.
Oh, this is great. So be polite and confident. I feel like confidence is key in any relationship because you have to be confident in yourself. But you also need to be confident together.
Now, let me ask you a question. I guess it depends on the Bond and the movie.
And the girl.
But does Bond ever come off as cocky rather than confident?
That's a good question.
Because I think confidence is great. Exuding confidence is attractive. People should do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there's like that much marginal error between cocky and confident, I think. You can come off as cocky, I think, when, you kind of are blasé or you ignore somebody or something like that. I think that comes off as cocky, or you brag unnecessarily or something like that. But if you come off as confident and you're looking good doing it, that sends a better message, I think, for a potential partner.
So there's a really interesting moment in Casino Royale with Daniel Craig where he's in the hotel and he has a cocky moment.
He does,
with Vesper Lynd, but I think the writers did that as kind of a trope to win over each other. They're kind of breaking down each other's barriers and things like that.
And walls and things like that. Yep. I think it's like speed dating before speed dating, or kind of thing. You just barely getting to know somebody.
So your advice to Bond with confidence is keep exuding the confidence, but don't go to the cocky.
But don't go to the cocky side of the spectrum.
Interesting. Okay. What else you got?
Know your food and drink pair. It's attractive when a guy can cook, but it's also really attractive when he knows a good wine with some
That's interesting.
Or something like that. Yeah,
I always say that Bond, one of the things that I love about Bond and that I emulate
never cooking, he knows his food.
Yeah,
and
but
drink pair.
he's very capable. He's very capable. He's very knowledgeable about things. So that's an attraction thing. It's not just a capability thing.
It's also adapting into like your culture environment and things like that. To eat the custom food and things like that. And never kind of question anything. Bond never orders like a hamburger or anything like that. He's always kind of getting something to match the scene and something to match like the nationality or the country that they're in, which I
That's true.
think is great.
So that's a good thing to do in front of
An ode to food and wine kind of
someone
thing.
he's trying to woo.
Yeah, of course. You
Okay.
know, always need some, a little nosh and
Yeah.
some drink and things like that and
All
kind
right.
of get things going.
What other generalities?
So keep it spontaneous and light, but be daring. I feel like at any turn or corner, Bond is either, throwing a girl around, either it's from danger or he loves her or he loves her in that moment.
or he needs information.
He needs information, exactly.
He slaps her around.
Yeah, like, come on. Give me the answers.
So with that, wait. I want to try to connect that advice again. What was that advice?
Just, kind of.
No, because you gave like 3 things. You said be daring.
Be daring.
Yeah. What was the other
Be
part?
Spontaneous.
Be spontaneous.
Yeah.
So what does it have to do with Bond throwing her around?
I don't know. You gotta keep it light and fun, kind of thing.
All right.
Always keep her on her toes or off.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, there we go. What else you got?
So I have be attentive. You want to be an attentive person.
Okay.
So he's very attentive for his like few moments with his ladies.
So how does Bond, let's talk about this. Does Bond suffer from not being attentive? Like when he takes his eye off the women, do they tend to die, for example?
Not only do they die, but I think they just become unattentive.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and I think he probably just, what did we say? Love him and chuck him?
No, you said
I
love him
said
and
that.
chuck him.
Yeah, she said that.
I feel like Bond is not the type of individual who will call them back very often.
No, he's a very one-time, no
Although he
second
did get married.
chances kind of thing. He did get married, but she did die.
She did. Now, was he not being attentive?
Probably not, if she's dead.
So, gentlemen, be attentive, or your
attentive.
significant other
Will
just
die.
may die. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
I like this one because it's very Bondy.
All right.
Don't dwell on the past. Something I struggle
Oh,
with.
my gosh.
Personally. But Bond
Tell me
doesn't.
about that.
Bond doesn't dwell on the past. I think he doesn't even know what happened in the last movie. So, I think it's great. Bond's very kind of quick to the point. He's very direct, which, ladies, attractive. It's
Yeah.
very cool that a man is direct with you and things like that.
But it's interesting. You say
But he does not dwell on the past.
don't dwell on the past.
I don't think he sees much about the future.
But the producers tend to have him dwell on the past because Daniel Craig's movies are all about going backwards. Like,
Yes.
I knew this, and this is my brother, my little brother,
Yeah.
like all this type of stuff.
And like Casino Royale kind of, I think,
Yeah.
is like the beginning of like the actual series and things like that. So it would kind of make sense that we're kind of going back.
Well, but
I
even
guess.
more so than that, there's constant connections to Vesper. So in Quantum of Solace, he's thinking about Vesper. In Spectre, he
He's
comes
thinking-
across as a VHS that has Vesper's thing.
Yeah,
so
so-
the producers are like constantly bringing him back, even though maybe he is trying to forget the past.
Maybe, but the past isn't trying to forget him, clearly.
No.
Which
That's
is scary.
wild. All right.
This is the last one I have.
All right.
But Bond never, ever complains about his ex-conquests.
Never complains about his ex-con. Oh,
Ever.
that's interesting.
Yeah. He
So-
never brings up an ex or things like that to, another woman. It's fresh.
So this is a good thing that Bond does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You keep it light. Never mention an ex, apparently. And, the past, clearly don't dwell on it because...
So boys nowadays, outside of the Bond movies, they tend to do that. From time to
I've
time.
had a lot of exes complain about their exes to me.
Oh, no
but
kidding.
I've also complained about my exes to
Right.
the people I've dated too.
And it's
So I
always a
just-
bad idea.
It's always a bad idea, and it never works
All right.
out.
So the fact that Bond, you said love him and chuck him, love him and leave him. Maybe,
and it's okay for a man to order a cocktail nowadays.
but maybe you're just off on
over.
these different
Yeah.
tangents. Stay on this one just for a moment.
Yes.
So what you're saying here is very interesting because maybe because he sloughs off these women so quickly, he's not bringing them back into the picture. That's actually a positive thing.
Because they want nothing to do with it, maybe?
Well,
once they
because
have him?
he's on to the next conquest. He's
I
on to the
definitely
next thing.
think he's like a hunter kind of thing. He's
Oh.
down for a chase.
As opposed to a farmer, yeah.
As opposed to a farmer. He's
That's
not,
true. That's true.
tending to anybody. Unless,
Yes. It'll be interesting in No Time to Die, this new movie, because
Yeah, we'll see.
he's with Madeline still. So they've jumped from movie
which
to
I
movie.
never understood, honestly.
Oh, the chemistry
It
there.
just seems forced.
It didn't seem
I feel
natural.
like he's rebounding a bit.
Yeah, I would say it's
We call
not
that
the
rebounding.
it's not the best romance written
Story.
information for sure.
But it'll do. for now.
It'll do.
It'll do.
All right. So those are your notes.
Those are my notes.
Put down your notes.
Put down my notes.
Okay, you can keep your book as kind of like your whoopee. You know, it's a safety thing. All right. So you are now going to play the psychologist.
All right.
I'm going to play Bond, and I'm going to come to you with a problem, and it's going to be about a relationship.
Okay.
Now, it may not just be a woman relationship. It could be about any relationship.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't rehearse this.
We did not.
I didn't send you anything, so
Nope.
this is totally off the cuff. All right. So here we go.
I'm ready.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I could be better.
Okay.
So I actually, I went back to my hotel room, and first of all, I got knocked out. That really
okay.
hurt. But then the girl that I was seeing, for a few minutes, was painted all in gold and dead. What should I do?
Well, do you know a good lawyer?
I don't.
Okay.
Is that a first step?
That's the first step, is get a
Okay.
lawyer.
All right.
The second one is, well, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but that was your goldfish on the bed, so you care about it, right?
I did. I
Okay.
do.
Oh, you did?
I
You do?
I did.
Okay. Well, maybe it's best to move on in that case.
Yeah, and I don't want to bring her up because I don't bring up my exes.
You don't bring
clearly.
up, and don't dwell on the past, right?
Okay, so don't dwell on the past. There goes my goldfish.
Yeah.
And to get a good lawyer.
You can always get another goldfish.
After I
But
get
you
a good
can't
lawyer.
get a good lawyer. Yeah.
That's right. All right, good. All right, good. That's number
Scene.
one scene. That actually went very well.
Okay.
We're going to do that again. We're going to keep doing that until we run into a wall. All right, here we go. Knock, knock. Hi.
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 Hello.
So I have a situation
Okay.
where there's this girl. She's a henchwoman. She's very aggressive. And
Okay.
every time I'm with her, she tries to squeeze me with her thighs and literally squeeze the breath out of
Do
me.
you like that?
I don't.
Okay.
Because
so you
I'm
need
near
to be
to
direct
death.
with her. You need to look her in the eye and say, "Excuse me, lady, don't do that to me."
Okay.
You need to respect me as an individual.
I should say
And-
that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So we can, have like a shared partnership if that's what you want. If not, stay away from her thighs.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but good advice.
But
Good advice.
and don't bring up your exes.
And don't bring up. Is that going to be like
That might be
the
like
number 3
the
bullet
number
point
3
of
bullet
everything?
point, yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, scene 2. Again, that went beautiful.
Don't dwell on the past.
Don't dwell in the past. All right, here we go. So this is going to be near and dear to your heart. So I'm dating this woman, and we've moved to Jamaica, and things are getting like really, really close. But she's got a lot of baggage. Like her father was an assassin, and by the way, he killed himself in front of me, and he said I was like a kite dancing in a hurricane. Do I stay with her? Do I not stay with her? Do I explore this further? What do I do?
How do you feel deep down? Do you feel like a kite in the rain?
Sometimes when I'm with her, I feel that bachelor yearning to be free, but then
So
I
you're
just
not
go
into it
spearfishing.
100%.
I'm questioning it.
Okay, so I would definitely be upfront with her. Say this isn't going anywhere. We need to see other people, or we should just be friends or henchums.
Henchums. Well,
Henchums.
she's actually a goodie, not a baddie. All right, perfect. Good, great advice. And I didn't even have to bring up the
There you
X
go.
thing.
Yeah. No.
All right.
But definitely don't bring up your ex.
So, hi.
Hi.
So I have a situation where I'm dating a celloist.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And she's nice enough and things like that, but she's really into the arts. And she and I have been through an adventure. I almost had to assassinate her, by the way.
Okay.
I should probably bring that up.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if this is going to be a long-lasting thing.
Do you
How do
think
you
she's
date somebody in the
financially
arts? I think she's got some money.
Okay.
Yeah.
From her family, or?
No, she's an accomplished celloist. I think she makes some good bank.
Do you think she would, overshadow your career and things like
Yes.
that? Oh, okay. So there
Yes.
you go.
I think
You got to
she
look
gets-
out for who? Number one.
Moi.
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
You date yourself before you date others.
Wow, that's intense. All right, so that's interesting.
She's going to play
it's-
second fiddle on this one. I'm sorry.
But maybe it's that I feel like she's always going to get the limelight. And I'm craving that a little bit. What do you think?
I would break up with her.
Wow.
Yeah, you should totally ruin her self-esteem and confidence, and you can be number one in your career.
Okay. All right, I like that. See, very nice. You ready? Keep going?
I'm ready.
All right, you tell me when you get exhausted.
All
These are
right.
great. All right, so I have a situation.
Okay.
This woman, and by the way, she likes to dress like a maid.
Okay.
She's trying to kick
yeah,
me
I know
with.
them.
She's trying to kick me with a poison dagger shoe all the time. Kick. She's
Yeah.
so physically violent with me, and I feel like she's trying to kill me all the time. What should I do?
You kick her back?
I don't. I blocked her.
Oh, you blocked her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you block someone, you need to be firm about it.
Okay.
And then you got to initiate no contact. So you just got to ignore her. So, she'll eventually keep kicking you and she'll get tired.
But it's poison at the end of the
Well,
dagger.
you just keep dodging it.
Oh, that doesn't. I don't know if that's a
And
successful
never bring
plan.
up your ex. Maybe
Well,
she'll stop kicking then.
That's very sound.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
And it's going to be a doozy. I seem to be attracted to women that I keep finding on beaches.
Oh, okay.
The ones that don't, but they're pretty, they're athletic, they're collecting shells, they don't have a lot of money, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why I keep gravitating back to them.
Yeah.
What should I do here?
Well, I think the reason they don't have, a lot going for them is because they have very little clothing on.
Oh.
So you can't really have a lot going for you if you only have a bathing suit to your name, I think, personally. So
All right.
I would be direct and upfront and be like, hey, you need to put on some clothes. You need to get your act together, get a job,
Whoa. So I should tell these women to go get a job?
You need to go get jobs. Yeah, you need to thrive. I can't see you as a real partner, and I can't take you seriously if you have a bathing suit on all the time.
All right. Listen, you're
Jamaica or not.
You're the advice coach. I've got to listen to you. All right, and see.
All right.
That was great. That was great. I don't know. So we should have asterisked this entire video to say, please do not try any of these at home.
Oh, yeah, no.
Unless you feel like they've connected with you. That you've had a moment or something like that. But
and you never bring up your past.
That's
Bad
right.
chance.
That's kind of the subtitle here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, so how did you get so good at this?
Oh, I did a 5-minute research on what James Bond should
Did you
do
really?
for dating. Yeah, I Googled it.
You're not supposed to say that. I thought you took like copious notes and watched all the...
I watched all the movies, but that's not what I gathered from everything.
Oh my gosh.
Cheated.
By the way, Ashlen had to sit and watch. How many have you watched? Like 7 in the last 2 weeks?
8, because I watched 3 and then I watched 5.
Oh, and then Never Say Never Again, too.
And Never Say Never. Oh, so 9.
Oh my gosh.
Almost 10.
Are you getting overdosed on Bond?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Are you coming away with a favorite? Like, is there a favorite Bond actor right now?
It's not Timothy Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. Who would you say?
Maybe Sean Connery.
Sean Connery? Still out there? Okay.
He's still
All right, cool.
OG, number 1.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been a really fun, he said.
She said.
And this has been...
Ashlen.
and David Zaritsky, and we will see you real soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.